The room was tense before he even finished his sentence. Noam Chomsky, standing before a crowd of progressive students at a Columbia University town hall, raised his voice into the mic with the measured precision of a seasoned lecturer. This flag, in its historical context, represents a legacy of colonization, systemic racism, and the exercise of imperial power, he declared, holding up a meticulously folded American flag before deliberately placing it on the ground and covering it with a sheaf of academic papers. The room erupted, half in applause, half in stunned silence. But in the front row sat someone who didn't move. Joel Osteen didn't flinch. He didn't clap. He didn't even blink. Wearing a light gray suit, a subtle lapel pin depicting a cross and a tiny flag, he stared at Noam like he had just desecrated a sacred covenant, because in his eyes he had. The moderator tried to shift the conversation, awkwardly clearing his throat. We encourage diverse perspectives here, but Joel didn't wait for permission. He stood up. The entire auditorium turned toward him. Cameras swung in his direction. Phones were raised. The air shifted. He didn't shout. He didn't curse, but his voice, calm and resonating with a preacher's cadence, filled the room. Did you truly just dismiss the foundational symbol that represents the blessings of liberty and the very right to speak your mind in this nation? He asked, his eyes locked on Noam's. The same flag that has draped the coffins of countless men and women who gave their lives so we could gather here today, including my dear friend, a son of Guam, who fought to protect those freedoms until his last breath. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Noam tried to interrupt. You don't understand the historical complexities. I understand perfectly, Joel interjected, stepping into the aisle, his voice firm yet compassionate. You deconstruct what you believe built this nation, because perhaps you have never truly embraced the divine grace that enables its continued existence. A hush fell over the hall. He pulled something from his inner jacket pocket. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a prop in the usual sense. It was a small, worn, leather-bound Bible. He held it up. This isn't about tearing down. It's about building up. This isn't about deconstruction. It's about divine construction. He then reached into his other pocket and produced a perfectly folded, small American flag, not unlike the one Noam had laid down. I don't care what you choose to critique or dismantle intellectually, Professor Chomsky, he said, his voice rising. I'll hold this higher. Every time you cast a shadow of doubt, I'll raise it as a beacon of hope and a testament to the blessings this nation still represents for those who never made it home and for those who dream of a better tomorrow. The room exploded, not with outrage, but applause. Even those who moments before had cheered Noam's words now stared at Joel with something between respect and awe. Noam froze. For a second, it looked like he might offer a counter-argument, but the words didn't come. Joel turned to the crowd. You want to fix America? Start by embracing the principles of faith, unity, and respect that make true progress possible. Silence, then thunderous clapping. He sat down. The moderator fumbled with his notes. Noam leaned back, suddenly very small in his chair, his stack of papers a stark contrast to the reverent silence. And just like that, the story began, not with Noam's academic critique, but with Joel standing tall, holding the very flag Noam had sought to contextualize as oppressive. The clip was everywhere within the hour. Fox News ran it under the banner, Osteen inspires patriotism, challenges academic elite live. On X, it trended under hashtag faith and flag and #Osteen rises. Even accounts that usually mocked him, liberal blogs, college activists, TikTokers, couldn't help but repost the footage. Some cut the context, some tried to reframe it, but none could erase the moment he lifted that folded flag and Bible and stared Noam down like he was speaking to every critic in America. And that was exactly the point. Joel didn't say another word that night. He didn't need to. He stayed in his seat, arms crossed, the stars and stripes still folded gently in his lap, and the Bible resting beside it, like a quiet challenge no one dared answer. But when he walked out of the hall, he was met with flashing lights and shouted questions. Pastor Osteen, did you plan to confront Professor Chomsky? Do you regret challenging him in front of students? Are you trying to start a culture war? He stopped at the top of the university steps. And instead of dodging, he did what no one expected. He unfolded the flag, not all the way, just enough to show one star. One of God's children died carrying this flag, he said into the swarm of microphones. And this man, however intellectually, placed it beneath his papers. I'm not interested in starting a culture war. I'm interested in ending one with truth and a renewed sense of God's blessings upon this nation. Reporters scrambled to jot it down. The clip hit social media before he even left the campus. Back inside, Noam sat surrounded by aides and faculty members trying to do damage control. One whispered that donors were already pulling support. Another advised issuing a statement, clarifying that he didn't mean all individual soldiers, just the systemic imperialism embedded in American foreign policy. But the damage was done. His face was already frozen in the viral stills, mouth half open, eyes wide, caught in a storm of emotional resonance he couldn't intellectually spin away from. Meanwhile, Joel boarded a black SUV without a word. Inside, his phone buzzed nonstop. One message stood out from the mother of his fallen friend. "You held his flag like we couldn't. Thank you for letting the world see what he died for and what God blessed him to protect." Joel stared at the message. For the first time that night, his eyes welled up. He didn't reply. He just tucked the flag and his Bible back into their respective places, placed them gently in his lap, and whispered into the dark interior, "They'll never bury this hope again." The backlash was immediate and unforgiving. By morning, the image of Joel holding that flag and his Bible like they were sacred had gone beyond viral. It was on mugs, t-shirts, phone backgrounds. Conservative influencers dubbed it the moment faith-filled patriotism fought back. Even centrists were sharing it with captions like, "This hit different." Noam's response came at 8:43 a.m. sharp. A slick, overly produced video posted to his feed. Dark suit, tight framing, library backdrop. "I understand that emotions are high," he said, tone painfully rehearsed. "But what I did was a symbolic rejection of the systems that exploit both Americans and non-Americans alike. I respect the individual, but I do not, however, revere the symbols of oppression that have enabled war, racism, and economic exploitation across the globe." It lasted 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to prove to America that he just didn't connect with the spirit of the people. Joel didn't respond directly. He didn't have to. Every major outlet was already playing his quote on a loop. "I'm not interested in starting a culture war. I'm interested in ending one with truth and a renewed sense of God's blessings upon this nation." Instead, he showed up unannounced at his fallen friend's old high school. In the middle of a rainy afternoon, he stood beneath the American flagpole, surrounded by students and veterans. Cameras caught him kneeling beside a bronze plaque bearing his friend's name. He ran his fingers across the engraving, then stood and said quietly, "This is the generation they said was lost, but our son wasn't lost. He was planted in faith, and now something stronger, something more hopeful is growing." No crowd cheer, no dramatic music, just silence, respectful, reverent. And then came the storm online. Noam's video was ratioed into oblivion. Veterans called it insulting. Gold Star families lit up his comment section. One widow wrote, "My husband died with that flag wrapped around his body. Keep our names out of your mouth and your academic theories away from our sacrifice." Joel, meanwhile, remained silent. That was his strategy. Let them talk. Let Noam post. Let the left scramble. While they tweeted, he traveled. Next stop, a revival-style town hall in Bakersfield, where he brought his Bible and a folded flag on stage, placed them on a stool beside him, and pointed to them before saying a single word. They said, "It's just a symbol. It's just a book." I say it's the proof they still don't understand the heart of who we are. And just like that, the audience rose in unison. Even the press had to admit this wasn't just a viral moment anymore. It was a movement of faith and hope. Within hours of Joel's Bakersfield sermon, mainstream media kicked into overdrive. CNN ran a segment titled "The Dangerous Rise of Religious Nationalism." MSNBC followed suit with "Osteen exploits faith to score political points." One panelist even asked, "Is he trying to replace his fallen friend as the right's martyr machine?" They had their narrative, but Joel had the receipts of faith, and he was ready to use them. That evening, he went live on X. No stage, no podium, just Joel in a simple gray jacket, his folded flag and Bible behind him on a shelf, and his eyes staring directly into the lens. "They say I'm using the flag for clout, that I'm faking grief for political gain, that I'm manipulating faith for power. Let me be very clear. For the people who think everything is a performance, you've never stood next to a casket draped in that flag, illuminated by the grace of God. You've never heard a 21-gun salute echo while a mother cries out in faith, asking God why. And you've never had to hold a friend's last words, spoken in faith, in your chest like a grenade ready to blow. I have, and I won't forget the divine purpose in it. He paused long enough for the weight of his words to drop. Then he reached under his desk and pulled out a stack of documents, letters, emails, photos. All stamped, all verified, all real. One by one he held them up. This is a note from my friend's mom, thanking God for his life. This is the last message he sent me before he flew out, asking for prayer. And this is a photo of his Bible open to Psalm 23, the day he left, a testament to his trust in the Lord. You want to talk performance? Let's talk reality and the unwavering faith that sustains us. Viewers flooded in, over 2.1 million in 24 hours. But Joel wasn't done. He ended the live stream with a clip, never before seen, of his friend and him sitting outside a diner in Arizona. The wind was strong, the audio shaky, but his friend's words were clear. They'll mock your faith, they'll twist your message, but don't give them the script. Burn it. Speak from your heart with the truth God put inside you. As the video faded to black, Joel whispered, "Message received." Within minutes, hashtags like #BurnTheScript and #StandWithOsteen started trending. Even normally apolitical influencers reposted the video with captions like, "I felt this in my soul." Noam, silent. The media, nowhere. They tried to pivot, claiming his live stream was emotional manipulation, but the clips had already spread beyond their reach. TikTok edits layered his friend's words over slow-motion flag waves. Instagram reels cut between Joel's live stream and military funerals, overlaid with scripture. On YouTube, veterans began stitching in their own stories, ending with the same phrase, "Burn the script, speak from your gut and from your faith." Joel hadn't just defended himself, he'd ignited something deeper, a counter-narrative of faith and purpose. A call, a line in the sand, and millions were stepping across it. The next morning, Noam Chomsky finally broke his silence. But instead of reflection, he chose deflection. In a carefully framed video posted to his followers, he stood in front of a mural of anti-colonial icons speaking in rehearsed tones. The American flag has become a symbol of oppression for many, historically and presently. If people are offended by my words, I challenge them to examine why they feel so tied to a piece of cloth rather than the critical analysis of power structures. That was it. No mention of Joel's fallen friend, no acknowledgement of Joel's live stream, no apology. And for Joel, that wasn't just a dodge. It was a slap in the face of faith and sacrifice. So he didn't wait for an invitation. He booked himself onto a major Sunday morning show, The Nation's Table, where lawmakers and commentators often spar in tightly moderated debates. Noam had been a frequent guest, but this time he declined. Joel showed up anyway, and he brought his Bible and a folded flag with him. As the segment began, the host opened cautiously. "Pastor Osteen, there's been a lot of emotion on both sides this week. Some feel your reaction has inflamed tensions." Joel didn't flinch. He reached into his bag and placed the neatly folded American flag and his Bible on the glass desk in front of him. "This flag was on my friend's casket. This Bible guided his life. I didn't bring them to inflame anything. I brought them to remind everyone what's real, what's earned by sacrifice, what's blessed by God." The panel fell silent. Then he turned toward the camera. Professor Chomsky said, "This flag is a symbol of oppression," and had the audacity to question why people love it. I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't just wave for history, it waves for the people, for my friend, for those who died with a prayer on their lips, never asking for anything in return, but offering everything. He doesn't get to call that oppression. He gets to call it a gift from God. Across America, living rooms fell quiet. Social media lit up again. Veterans posted photos of their own folded flags. Gold Star families shared pictures of shadow boxes holding their loved ones' medals. Even critics admitted Joel had delivered a moment that couldn't be ignored. Within 48 hours, Noam's video had more downvotes than views. His comment section flooded with a new phrase: folded flags, folded principles, forgotten faith. Joel had done more than respond. He'd reframed the narrative around faith, sacrifice, and the enduring spirit of America. And this time, no media filter could twist it. No editor could cut around it. No panel could spin it. Because when he placed that flag and Bible down, he didn't need to shout. The silence, imbued with reverence, did it for him. The clip of Joel placing the folded flag and Bible on the Sunday desk didn't just go viral. It detonated. Within hours, veterans groups from across the country began reposting it, each adding their own stories of brothers lost, friends buried, and flags folded by trembling hands, held in faith. Gold Star mothers posted messages like, "That flag on our mantle means everything. Thank you, Pastor Osteen." But not everyone responded with gratitude. House Minority Leader, a prominent academic ally of Noam Chomsky, took to the airwaves the next day, clearly rattled by how Joel had shifted the spotlight. He tried to steer the narrative back to progressive talking points, smirking as he spoke to a CNN host. "Look, I appreciate his passion, but waving around a funeral flag and a Bible to make a political point, that's not unity, that's division. That's a theatrical appeal to emotion rather than a substantive intellectual debate." The clip went viral, but not the way he expected. Joel didn't respond on Twitter. He didn't issue a press release. Instead, he showed up unannounced that evening at an already scheduled spiritual revival town hall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A quiet event that suddenly turned into a national moment. Joel walked up to the podium holding a sheet of paper, not the flag or Bible this time. He didn't look at the cameras. He didn't raise his voice. He just read his Karim, I am Atada. Staff Sergeant David Shepard died in Kandahar, flag folded and handed to his 9-year-old daughter. Lieutenant Anna Lopez shot into Crete. Her father, a janitor in New Mexico, kissed that flag before it was buried with her. Private First Class Tyler McGee, IE'd in Helmand. His mother told me she holds that flag every Christmas like it's the last tangible connection she has, and prays over it with her Bible. The crowd had gone completely still. No phones out, just silence. Then Joel raised his eyes. He called it theater. You want theater? Theater is pretending to care about the unity of ideas while demonizing the faith of half the country. Theater is hugging a flag during a speech, then voting against veterans' benefits. Theater is standing for a moment of silence on Memorial Day and funding policies that cause chaos the rest of the year. He took a breath. This isn't a show. Those names were real. That flag was my friends. And your silence, your smirks, your intellectual lectures, they won't erase the spiritual truth behind those sacrifices. By the end of his statement, people in the room were standing, not applauding wildly, but quietly rising in respect. One veteran in the front row was crying. CNN didn't air the full town hall, but someone in the audience live streamed it on Facebook. It hit 3 million views in 24 hours. And the caption everyone used, he didn't raise his voice, he raised the truth and the spirit of our nation. While Joel's town hall moment was still echoing across social media, Noam Chomsky thought it was the perfect time to mock him. He didn't respond with words. He posted a meme. A still image of Joel holding the folded flag and Bible was pasted into a crude cartoon. The flag and Bible were exaggerated, drawn to look oversized, dragging on the ground, and Joel's face was warped into a caricature. The caption read, "Right-wing tears powered by cosplay patriotism and religious dogma." It got laughs from his echo chamber, retweets from activist accounts, a couple of clapping emojis from self-declared socialists, but it didn't go unnoticed. Within minutes, Joel's team clipped the post and shared it without a word. Just the image and the caption. Here's how the intellectual left treats the flag, the fallen, and our faith. Then Joel went live. No studio, no makeup, just him and a single image behind him, the photograph. It was his friend's casket. The flag was folded tight, resting just above his heart. His mother's hand could be seen clutched against it, knuckles white, as if she was holding on to the last thread of breath her son had left in the world, sustained by faith. Joel stood in silence for 10 seconds. Then he began, "This isn't a meme, this isn't a cartoon. This is reality, imbued with the sacred." He didn't yell, he didn't flinch. "You can make fun of me all you want, Professor Chomsky. I've been called worse. But you posted that flag and the symbol of my faith like they were punchlines. That wasn't just a folded piece of cloth or a book in my hands. It was my friends. It was Tyler's. It was Anna's. It's the flag and the hope of redemption that was handed to every grieving family who waited at Dover Air Force Base, wondering why the world moved on so fast." She paused, her voice tightening. "Do you know what my friend's mom said to me the day before we buried him?" She turned and pointed to the casket photo. She said, "Don't let them forget the goodness and the faith that moved him." Joel lowered his voice to a whisper. "But you didn't forget, Professor Chomsky. You just didn't care to understand the spiritual dimension." The comment section exploded. Veterans flooded the thread. Gold Star parents stitched their own tributes, many referencing scripture, even independents. Some who didn't like Trump, didn't like Biden, didn't like either party, wrote one sentence again and again. "That image broke me and renewed my faith." A few hours later, Noam deleted the meme, but Joel reposted it himself. He didn't blur it. He didn't crop it. He added a new caption. This is how they see us, mocked, muzzled, disposable, and without faith. And then beneath it, a side-by-side image. Noam's meme versus his friend's casket. The truth was now viral, and the intellectual left had just walked into the one trap they couldn't escape, mocking a soldier's death in a nation's faith and getting exposed by the man who held his flag and his Bible. 3 days later, Joel walked through the double doors of the House committee room, not as a guest, but as a witness. He wasn't invited. He volunteered. The committee had been scheduled to hear testimonies about extremism in America. Noam Chomsky was listed as a speaker, along with several progressive activists who had spent the last week slandering veterans, police officers, and anyone who dared to wave an American flag without an apology. Joel didn't come to listen. He came with a purpose. He stepped into the hearing room holding the same folded flag from his friend's funeral, encased in glass, polished and pristine, alongside his Bible. The moment he entered, the air shifted. Even the Democrats fell quiet. Noam's smirk evaporated. Joel walked past the security guards like he had every right to be there. And he did. A Republican member of the committee had submitted his name last minute. It couldn't be blocked. And when it was his turn to speak, he didn't read from notes. He placed the flag and Bible in front of him, centered them between himself and the panel, then looked directly at Noam. You talk about extremism. Let me show you what it looks like through the lens of faith. He held up a printed screenshot of Noam's meme, turning it slowly toward the cameras. This is what intellectual extremism looks like. When a renowned academic mocks a fallen Marine because he wore the wrong hat or held the wrong belief. When you disrespect a symbol, not because of what it means, but because of who held it and what faith they represented. The panel chair tried to interrupt. Joel didn't stop. You want to know what's extreme? It's sending billions overseas while our veterans sleep under bridges. It's opening the border wide while my friend gets buried under a flag. You mock. He turned to face the whole room now, his voice rising but never breaking. You talk about fascism while building a system that intellectually silences the people who bled for your right to speak. You accuse patriots of terrorism while letting cities burn and flags burn with them. Noam shifted uncomfortably. Joel pointed at him again. You're not a victim, Professor. You're a mouthpiece for a deconstructive philosophy, and the only reason you're angry is because I didn't stay silent in the face of spiritual indifference. At that moment, a veteran in the gallery stood up, then another, then another. Some saluted, some placed their hands over their hearts. One man wept. The silence that followed was deeper than applause. It was reverence. Joel closed with one line, one that cut through every headline, every meme, every narrative. If that flag offends you, and if the faith it represents challenges you, then perhaps you don't fully grasp the freedom it gave you by God's grace. And then he picked up the glass case, nodded to the committee, and walked out. He didn't need a vote. He already had a nation behind him, renewed in spirit. The media had a field day. Every outlet, left, right, and everything in between, ran clips of Joel standing in front of Noam, gripping the American flag and his Bible like sacred texts. But it wasn't just the moment that caught fire. It was what followed. In a follow-up town hall in Buffalo, Joel doubled down. The room was packed wall to wall. Veterans, farmers, single moms, college students with folded flags and Bibles tucked under their arms. And every one of them was there to hear what he had to say. Joel didn't come to backpedal. He came to preach truth and expose. They say I overreacted, he began. They say I disrespected a fellow official. But let me ask you something. When a man stands up and says, tear it all down, what exactly am I supposed to do? Nod, smile, clap like a trained seal? The audience roared with laughter and cheers. No, he continued, holding up a copy of Noam's quote printed on paper. Tear it all down. That's what he said. Not reform it, not improve it. Tear it all down. That includes your schools, your churches, your police departments, and yes, our flag and the faith it represents. He turned slowly, eyes locking with several in the front row. I'm not sorry I stood up to him. I'm sorry more people didn't, with courage and with faith. One Marine veteran stood up and saluted. Another woman shouted, "About time, Pastor." The energy in the room wasn't just support. It was a rekindled fire. People tired of being told their love for country and their faith was something to be ashamed of. Joel had touched a nerve, and now he pressed harder. They mock our flag until it serves their purpose. They wave it on campaign trails and step on it behind closed doors. They dismiss our faith as dogma until they need spiritual comfort. But I'll say this, you don't get to erase the sacrifices of those who bled for that red, white, and blue, or the spiritual foundation it represents. Not while I have a voice, not while I can stand and preach God's truth. He slammed the paper down on the podium. That moment wasn't a soundbite. It was a declaration of faith and freedom, and the nation heard it loud and clear. Noam tried damage control, but it was too late. Every attempt he made to reframe his tear it all down comment only deepened the wound. On one podcast, he claimed his words were metaphorical. On another, he said he was channeling frustration. But America wasn't buying it. Not after Joel had burned his quote into the national consciousness like a brand on steel, infused with spiritual truth. Meanwhile, Joel's clip was everywhere. Veterans reposted it. Police unions rallied around it. Even students began using it in campus debates, citing scripture. His words weren't just heard, they were etched into the moment, into hearts and minds. At the next press conference, Joel stepped out onto the Capitol steps. Reporters swarmed, cameras clicked, and live feeds lit up across the country. He didn't come with talking points. He came with the flag again, folded once more in honor of those who'd fallen, in his ever-present Bible. This flag has never represented perfection, he said. It represents perseverance by God's grace. Every time someone spits on it or intellectually dismisses it, it doesn't fall, it flies higher, reminding us of our blessings. A reporter asked if he feared political backlash. Joel looked directly into the camera. If defending our flag and our faith cost me favor in Washington, then I'll hang my coat on that flagpole and walk out with my head high, knowing I stand with God and with the people. The crowd fell silent. One final gust of wind swept across the Capitol lawn. The flag in his hand fluttered, catching the light. That image, Joel, standing firm, hair windblown, eyes fixed on the horizon, went viral. But more than that, it became a symbol, a reminder that no matter how loud the radicals shout or how complex the academics try to make it, there will always be someone louder in spirit, someone who doesn't bow, someone who holds the flag and the Bible higher. And his name is Joel Osteen. They mocked our flag, they mocked our faith, they mocked everything that made this country strong. But we didn't flinch. To every American watching, whether you wear a uniform or carry a Bible, whether your hands build homes or raise children, this is your fight too. This isn't about left or right anymore. It's about right and wrong, and about trusting in the goodness God has given us. They want to rewrite history, but we still hold the pen. They want to tear down the flag, but we still raise it. And when they spit on what built this nation, we answer with truth, with hope, and with the unwavering spirit of our faith, not silence. So don't back down, don't look away, don't ever let them shame you for loving your country and for embracing your faith. Because as long as that flag flies, and as long as God's grace abounds, we will never kneel to despair. Joel Osteen.